Howdy, y'all. It's Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. How you doing? Balanced Dataslate was today. Finally, I get a chance to actually review it, give my thoughts. Holy cow. Here it is. It's amazing. I've read through it, studied it a little bit today when I had some time. Holy cow. We are into a whole different game. This is fantastically interesting. That is a disgusting army to see on the table. Weird. Interesting. All right. Anyway. Adeptus Mechanicus, though, looks really cool. But anyway, all right, we've got three different things that we're going to look at. First off, rules commentary. Let's go ahead and do that really quickly because there's only a few things. It's anything in red is a change, and there was only, I think, like 2 things in here, but they were important clarifications. And so just some quick stuff. Really, really good things to hit right quick there. It is eligible to shoot when equipped with ranged weapons. Unless a rule specifically states otherwise, units that have shot are no longer eligible to shoot until the start of the next phase. This is for Tau, if memory serves, for the targeting stuff for guided versus observer. So glad they clarified it. That's how it should have worked anyway, but we didn't necessarily have that clarification. Got it. Good. Okay. All right, one last little thing, if memory serves, that was further down in here, and it was just one little note, if I can find it again. For some reason, oh, there it is, vehicles with bases. For some reason, or somehow they changed it, and I think it was more towards the end of it, that basically if it's a vehicle with a base, if you're touching the vehicle's hull or the base, touch whatever's closer to get to 0. You're base-to-base contact, okay? And you're in base-to-base contact if you're within 0 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically of any part of the vehicle's model. Okay, that's it. Nothing else there. Pretty simple stuff. Good to know. All right, so that's a thing. We can move on. Next thing we're going to hit is the balanced data slate itself. It's only 3 pages of stuff. We're going to hit the big things, especially this first page, because this is where things get really interesting. And this affects a ton of factions. All right, so let's go through it. First off, devastating wounds is different now. It changes to this wording: weapons with devastating wounds in their profile are known as devastating wounds weapons. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if that attack scores a critical wound, no saving throw of any kind can be made against that attack, including invulnerable saving throws. Such attacks are only allocated to models after all other attacks made by the attacking unit have been allocated and resolved. So it sounds like these are the last things that happen after everything else. It says saving throws cannot be made against critical wounds scored by this weapon, including invulnerable saving throws. So no saving throws. Feel no pains can still happen. What's interesting, though, is this. This was pointed out in another video that I watched as well. Example that's really crazy. Custodes have as their faction detachment ability right now 4-up feel no pain against what? Mortal wounds. Well, now, what are devastating wounds weapons? Are they mortal wounds? The answer is no, they're not. And of right now, that means, for the most part, like 90% of what the Custodes detachment ability was, 4-up against feel no pain against mortal wounds, is now gone. There's still things that give out mortal wounds, but that's big. That's huge, crazy stuff there. But it also does mean, too, that since it doesn't become mortal wounds, so like if you hit something for 6 damage and it becomes all mortal wounds, they separate out into 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. Because of this, though, it stays as 6 big damage. So when you hit a Necron Warriors group, you take 1 warrior and pick him up, and that's it. That's all that happens. Whoop-de-doo, right? I'd do that, and there's no bleed over onto the next unit. Very interesting. Modifying a stratagem CP cost. Rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem when you target a particular unit can only do so for a stratagem that targets multiple units if every unit you target has the same ability to modify the CP of that stratagem. Okay. So basically, they just have to have the same ability to modify the CP of that stratagem. Okay. But the real important thing here is rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem, but that do not specify the name of the stratagem, can only be used to affect the CP cost of battle tactic stratagems. That's very limited. So it's like the command reroll. That's a battle tactic if memory serves. So you could increase that, which that's probably going to be the one that gets targeted a lot. But for Necrons, for example, we're down to like Hungry Void and Conquering Tyrant, I think. And they're they're okay. One's a melee one and one's a ranged one. It's not the ranged one that I really like, but I do get to reroll wound rolls, so it's still useful. But when you consider like Overlord goes in Immortals, Warriors, and Lichguard, I don't know. The melee one's good for Lichguard, not good for any other group, and the ranged one's okay for the other two, especially I guess for Immortals, but there's less shots because it's only 10 of them. Anyway, last thing too is that rules that allow you to use a stratagem even if another unit has been targeted by the stratagem this phase or turn, but they do not specify the name of the stratagem, can only be used to use battle tactic stratagems. So you can't increase anything except the ones that are battle tactics, and you can't decrease anything that's the battle tactics. That's all it is. All right. Fire Overwatch, here's what changed. The enemy unit must be visible, and you cannot target a Titanic unit with the stratagem, so you can't use it on a Titanic. Okay? Yeah, so Titanic units cannot use the Fire Overwatch. Really interesting. Very, very interesting, isn't it? All right. Insane Bravery. This is interesting. Just before you take a battle shock test now. So before you even roll, you have to use this for 1 CP. So it's like, nope, I'm doing this. And it's a unit from your army that must take a battle shock test. Your unit automatically passes the battle shock test and restrictions. You cannot use the stratagem more than once per battle. So you only get this one time ever. Very interesting. 2 really big changes. Before the battle shock test is even taken, and once per battle, that's it. Ruins Invisibility section. We didn't realize this, but models cannot see over or through this terrain feature. The over part's so interesting, because that means if it's technically a ruin and it's only an inch and a half high, does that technically go to the ceiling? And I'm afraid, according to this wording, yes. But they took out the towering models, and so it's just aircraft models that can just see over. And towering models that are within this terrain feature can also see out of it normally, so they don't have to be wholly within, but just at least within. All right. Faction rules. They changed quite a few of these things. We'll look at this in the point cost stuff. We're going to move through that pretty quickly. And really, it's how many for like Custodes. They changed it to an epic deed stratagem, and then their other things are just changes to sizes of units. We'll talk about that because they went down on wardens from like up to 10 now to just 5 max. So that's interesting. All right. I'm not going to hit all of this stuff real hardcore, but I think it's an interesting thing. The Agents of the Imperium did change, so the vigilance are up to 10 now. Yeah. Phantasm stratagem for the Aeldari was changed to only infantry units. That's an important thing because I believe that was the strike and fade after being targeted for an attack but before shot, I believe. Kind of crazy. Leagues of Votann changed where now they get to, up to, in the strike force, 4 units automatically get 2 judgment tokens that they just decide before the game starts. Kind of crazy. Yeah, they had quite the changes. Haloed and Soulfire stratagem is changed to a strategic ploy, so you can't make it cheaper and you cannot have it go up in cost. So there's that. Imperial Knights had a lot of their stuff changed up to 2 CPs, and Thunderstorm Stomp is an epic deed now, so they only have 1 battle tactic stratagem. Holy cow. And the Bondsman's only affect Armiger models now, the Bondsman's abilities. Very interesting. That's a big one. Forgot about that. That's a big deal there. Yeah. Yeah. So, and maybe some Questoris models. So if it's a bigger thing that's a Questoris that has the Bondsman, I don't know. So it may just give it only to 1 Armiger model, but that's, I don't know. That's interesting. Let's keep moving. All right, that's it for there. Nothing else that I want to hit there. So let's go into the Munitorum field menu. We're not going to hit everything, but I'm going to hit some of the highlights that I was interested in for some armies. And I've got these all written down and changed, and I believe they're accurate. Please, if you see something that goes counter to what you recognize, let me know down in the comments below. Adeptus Sororitas. There is a lot of red on this, and if it's red, it means it's changed up or down. It doesn't indicate. I wish it would. They need to really do that. So Aestrid Thurga and Agatha Dolan are down 15 points from what they were. The Arcoflagellants are down 5 points for the 3 and 20 for the 10. Battle Sisters Squad is down 10 points. So it was 110, now down to 100. Canoness is down 10 points. Castigator's down 10 points. The Crusaders at the max are down 15. So it's increments of 5 each time there. Dialogus is down 5 points. Dogmata down 5 points as well. Dominion squad is down 10 points. Exorcist down 10 points. Hospitaller 5 points. Imagifier? Imagifier. Interesting word. Down 5. Immolator down 15. Junith Iruta? Interesting name. Down 10. The Missionary down 5. Morven Vol down 10. Palatine down 5. Paragon Warnsus down 40. Nice. Preacher down 5. Rapincha squad down 20 at the max, so 10 at the middle, or the low end. Retributor squad down 15. Saint Celestine down 15 as well. Sisters Novitiate squad. Man, I'm sorry, I'm struggling with these pronunciations. I've never really read through their whole list. Down 5 points. Sororitas Rhino down 5. Triumph of St. Catherine down 25. So overall, what do we see here? They got no other changes directly in the other side of this. And so what we've got here is some pretty drastic drops all around, because when you take these all into consideration, in a 2,000 point battle, you're talking about potentially a couple hundred points in drop. That's going to be significant, because that's going to be a whole extra squad of something or two that shows up. That's interesting. I will be curious and intrigued to see if this helps and fixes them. I don't know. I just don't know. All right, let's go to our next thing. The Adeptus Custodes. My good friend plays these pretty religiously, and John's been on the channel before talking with me about some of this stuff, and they've had quite the change here. So the Alaris Custodians, and there's something really weird that happens about halfway through this group. Very strange. At the top, 6 models, they're down. They're up 30 points. So 420. They used to be 390. Okay, so it goes 10, 15, 25, and then 30 here. All right, Blade Champion is up 20 points. Custodian Guard is up 20 or 25 at the top. And notice the unit size has changed for some of the stuff here. Okay. And I think it changed for one of them. I can't remember which one was a group of 6, and then the other was a group of 10. I can't ever remember, and I fight against these things all the time. Custodian Wardens are 20 points up and 40 points up at the max. Pretty significant. Then we go down to Shield Captain, who went up 20 points. Shield Captain Alaris Terminator Arm, 20 points as well. Shield Captain on Don Eagle Jetbike went up 35. Trajan Valoris went up, I believe I have 15 here. Okay. And Venerable Landlerator went down 20. And this is where it gets weird, because we start having drops on all these other little things that they're just piddly stuff, which is interesting. Which is actually good for Custodes, helpful wise, because they could sit on backline stuff and guard it. So, but here's where it gets weird. Vigilators, for 4 models, they're 50 points. For 5, they're 65. But what's interesting, the drop is still only 10 points lower on both those. And for the 9 and the 10 models, it's still just 20-point drop comparatively. So it's just kind of weird that they don't actually fully take into account the extra model in the 5 and the 10 from the 4 and the 9, if that makes sense. So it should be like 128, but I'm pretty sure what it really is, they're keeping it at 5s. Because if you do that, it won't ever work for anything, because they always have it in increments of 5s on this. I think all the way around at this point for all of these models. So very interesting just to see, because they do that with the Witch Seekers as well. For 4 and 5 models, it's down 10 points, and for 20 and for 9 and 10 models, I believe it's 25 there. Agamatus Custodians are down 40 and then down 80 for 6. Aquilon Custodians are down 20 and then 40. And Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought is up 10. Custodian Guard with Adrosite and Pyrethite Spears, that's the most ridiculous, silly name I've ever heard in my life, I believe are down 25. Sagittarium Custodians are down 25. Venetary Custodians, last thing here, are down 35 and then 70 respectively. And so those all make sense and line up. I really think it just comes down to the increments of 5s. Very interesting. Yeah, Custodes are going to be real different for their mainline stuff Going to be really, really interesting. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about the Custodes now? All right. We're not going to hit all of these because I just had to choose after a bit because this is a long list. I thought it was interesting. I don't play Aeldari. I have a good friend that might be starting them and wanted to see what has changed here because these are drastic things that needed to change because of how strong Aeldari were, even after some fixes, quote unquote. Osserman is up 15. Autarch is up 10. Autarch Skyrunner is up 10. Autarch Wayleaper is up 25. Avatar of Cain is up 40. The Dark Reapers are up 5 and then 10 for the 10 models. Death Jester's up 20. Fire Prism is up 30. We go back up. Imperial Knights Spear is up 5, looks like. Night Spinner is up 10. Support weapons are up 20. The Yinkarn is up 80 points. Holy cow. It's quite the jump. The Void Weaver is up 25. The Viper is up 10. The Warwalker is up 15. The Warp Spiders are up 15 and then 30 for the max. And the Wraithguard are up 15 and 30 as well. And Wraith Knight, I missed it. I did miss the Wraith Knight here. Let's see what the points cost change was. I thankfully have on my phone the backup of the last Munitorium Field Manual because I always want to just kind of have a record of what's happened here. And this is page 6. So what did I... Okay, Wraith Knight was 475 and he'd gone up. So he is 25, 35. 35 points up as well. Okay, that's actually pretty significant. Of course, I don't have my pen in here. So 35 points. Good, right? They needed as much as possible to go away here. The Forge World for them as well. The Hornet went up by 20 points. The Lynx by 25. The Skathak Wraith Knight by 50. Shadow Specters 15. Then 30 at the 10. And then 10 more on their Shadow Spectre Exarch. It's really weird how that's listed right there. And I apologize. Me having to pause and count for the Wraith Knight. It's been a long day. And I'm just not thinking as clear as I'd like to be. But anyway. Warp Hunter is up 15 points. All right. That's the Aeldari. However, there's another piece of that we'll get to in a bit. The Agents of the Imperium. I wanted to actually take a moment. And this is a little shocking to me. So the Calidus Assassin. Now, granted, his whole thing changed a bit of he's not going to be able to target as much at all. So that's good. He's down 25 points. Okay. Exaction Squad is up 35 points, and the model count in this unit is up. Voidsmen and Arms are the last things. They're up 10 points and 20 points respectively here. So that's what I saw. Moving on. All right, what's our next faction we're going to look at? And I recommend getting on to Warhammer 40K to look at these others if there is something I am not listing here, because there's just a lot to this stuff and some major changes to several. All right, the Drukhari. Backtrack a bit, because I printed those off and put them with the Eldar just because they're a part of that. But they're interesting because they had points drops. So apparently they've been struggling. Archon is down 10. Beastmaster is down 15. Court of the Archon is down 10. Drazar is down 15. Homunculus is down 15. Hellions is down 10 and then 20. Incubi is down 5 and then 10. Kabbalite Warriors are down 10. Lilith Hesperex is down 20. Mandrakes are 5 and then 10 for the max. Ravagers down 20. Reavers are down 5 and then 10 respectively. Scourges 10 and then 20s. Succubus is down 15. Urian Rakarth is down 25. Rax are down 5 and then 10 respectively. And Wykes, we'll say Wykes, I don't know, down 20. So quite a bit of drops. Apparently they're in some struggle nugs. And Gene Senior Klutz, I'm pretty sure a lot of it went up. But anyway, moving on. Grey Knights, friend and family member that plays the Grey Knights. Kind of interesting to note, to see what happened here. This is shocking, I'll be honest, because not that I didn't expect points decreases, but holy cow. All right, let's go through here. Brother Captain is down 5 points. Brother Captain Stern is down 20. He's the same points as a Brother Captain. That's dumb. Anyway, just notice that. Brotherhood Champion is down 5. Brotherhood Chaplain is down 15. Brotherhood Librarian is down 10. Brotherhood Tech Marine down 25. Brotherhood Terminator Squad is down 15 and then 30 for the full 10 models. Castle and Crow is down 20. Grandmaster is down 20 as well. Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knight armor is down 45 points. Holy cow. Grandmaster Voldus down 20. Grey Knights Land Raider down 30. Grey Knights Land Raider Crusader down 20. Grey Knights Land Raider Redeemer down 30. Grey Knights Razorback down 10. Okay, we're not going to just read Grey Knights all the time here. Rhino down 5. That's only 75 points for that kind of a vehicle. That's crazy. Interceptor Squad 25 points and then 50 points down for 10. That's a lot of reduction. Caldor Drago down 30. Nemesis Dread Knight down 30. Paladin Squad down 30 and then 60 for the full 10. Purgation Squad down. This seems like a typo. I have down 55 and then down 50 points at the top here, and that doesn't make sense. Let's confirm here. I think this is the interesting part to just look back through. Okay, so Purgation Squad. All right, so 190 for the initial, so 55. Yep, okay, we're good there. And then 50 for the 270. That's actually correct. So you don't get as much points reduction for 10 models as you do for 5. Very interesting. See, these are the things that just weird my whole brain out. The math just starts breaking in my head when I start looking at it because it's like, that doesn't make sense, but okay. Purifier Squad is down 20 points and 40 points respectively. Holy cow. Are you sensing something here? A theme? An insane theme? A crazy theme? The last thing is the Strike Squad down 10 and then 20 points. When you add all of this up, even just the stuff over on the far right, the Paladin, Purgation, Purifier, and Strike stuff, you are talking about 300 or 400 points reduction. This is crazy, guys. If they're saying that Grey Knights were this busted, that they couldn't function, and they're dropping this drastically. Okay, here's the thing we need to talk about for a second here, because this is really important. This is a perfect example of what in the world. Kind of like with the Custodes, because I'm afraid with them accidentally, I think it's an accident that it's going to get changed back somehow and fixed. Could be wrong, though, with the change to their detachment ability with the whole Devastating Wounds ability going on, not protecting against it at all now. It's like a pendulum swing, right? Like the pendulum on an old clock. That I think for some of the stuff they're swinging it a little too hard the other way. That, granted, I've even seen comments online that some people are like, Grey Knights don't actually have a whole lot of penetrating ability and power, but when you have this much reduction, it doesn't matter because you're just going to be able to send wave after wave after wave and teleport, potentially alpha striking because you're sitting behind cover and then jumping to them. I say this is a Necrons player that has access to some of that, but not like this. Crazy. This is interesting. All right. I don't know. I'm just wondering because this looks a little bit like a pendulum swing that's a little too insane. But what do I know? All right. Imperial Knights. As you can tell, there's not a lot of changes here. The reason being because they were nerfed in the Tower Ring change. So Armiger Helverin up 5, Armiger Warglaive up 10, Canis Rex down 30. So they did actually have a points reduction, but without the one, Canis Rex goes down in part because he doesn't have his access as much to stratagems with his special ability now because of their limit, and they changed one of the two to be a different type of stratagem. So kind of weird. Leagues of Votann. Let's go. If you'll notice one thing, this is one of the only factions, I think, that is completely changed. Really interesting here. Really interesting. All right. So, Brokir Ironmaster, 5 models down 10. Brokir Thunderkin down 20 and then 40 for the full. Chthonian Berserkers down 35 and then 70. And this is why it really bugs me when those other point values don't make sense and add up, because you can see consistency here. But anyway, Einhar Champion down 15. Einhar Hearthguard down 15 and then 30 for the full group. Grimnir down 10. Hearthkin Warriors down 25. Hecaton Land Fortress down 20. Hernkin Pioneers down 15 and 30 for the 6. The Call is down 20. Sagittar is down 20. And Uthar to Destin is down 25. Good friend John was making just an observation. I think it was the Einhar Champion down to 60. He's like, that's a steal. That's awesome. Which I'm like, cool. It does seem like, and we were talking a little bit about this, that they've become a little bit more of a horde army than anything, which is really interesting considering, is that a really big army list? You know what I'm saying? Funny. Just funny. All right, here we are. Yeah, my boys. Okay. We've only got a few more factions we're going to hit. Necrons, Tau, and World Eaters. Necrons. This is my bread and butter. I was super excited for this, and I kind of figured there was going to be some not so positive changes. But honestly, after seeing all this, I'm like, I can work with this. So let's get into it. Canoptic Doomstalker went up 10 points. Guess what? Don't care. Don't use them. Don't have any yet. Probably won't. Canoptic Reanimator went up 10. Why? Because it's really, really, really good. Haven't had a chance to use one just yet. Working on building some and like painting them right now. Still worth it. They're still worth it. Cryptothralls. This is where it gets crazy. All right. 60 points. They were 40. They went up by 20. That's a 50% increase in points. That being said, are they still worth it? Yeah, they are. That's insane. They tie to Immortals, Lichguard, Necron Warriors. Still worth it. Still good. Doomsday Art went up by 25 points. Still useful? Yes. Is it more expensive? Yeah. I don't know. I think that's going to be next on my list of things to add to the Necron collection anyway. But it is kind of interesting that now that's going to give a little bit more pause to use. Anyway, Hexmark Destroyer went up 10 points from 70 to 80. Still really good. Now, Illuminor Xeris is the first real interesting down. He went down 35 points. He was up at like 220. That's quite a change. He's still expensive, but yeah, that's good. Imhotep the Stormlord, he went down 5 points. Okay, don't know why. Especially with the Overlord. You'll notice down below, there's nothing that changed about him. Really weird. Locust Heavy Destroyers, up 5, up 10, up 15. So 5 points per model. Totally fine. Totally get it. Cool. It's our heavy guns. Okay. Locust Lord went down 5 points. Cool. So ironically, the Locust Heavy Destroyers each went up by 5 points, but the Locust Lord went down by 5. So he mitigates one Locust Heavy Destroyer. Just kind of interesting. So really, if you put him in with a Locust Heavy Destroyer squad, you'd only be paying 10 extra points, not 15. Just kind of funny. Lichguard. This is a tough one. They went up 20 points and then 40 points for the 10 models. So they were 190 and now they're 230. Still good, yes. But whew, that's a spicy meatball. Yikes. Monolith down 35 points. So we were at 385. Now we're down 350. Is it worth it if you keep it in strategic reserves to pop down on the board on turn 2? I would say yes, to just do pure absolute wreckage and carnage and everything and beautifulness. Necron Warriors, and this is where it gets really weird to me. Down 10 points and down 20 for 20 models. So they went down 20 points, but what went up 20 points? The Cryptothralls. So ironically, what does it actually cost Necron Warriors? Nothing. There's no change to still have Cryptothralls in them. It's kind of weird. May see more Necron Warriors just because of that. Very interesting. Ophidian Destroyers went down by 10 and then 20 for the 6. And the same with Scorpec Destroyers, 10 and 20. I've seen that apparently Ophidian Destroyers are great for secondaries because they can just keep tunneling and then going back to do whatever they want, which I'm going to have to try that at some point. That's fascinating. Scorpec Destroyers still, I think, stink, unfortunately, because they're just not good. They're too slow. We lost an inch, and we got our weapons solidified down to just hyperphase weapons instead of 2 different reap blades and threshers, if memory serves. But anyway, it's not a bad profile. It's just, I don't know. I guess now they can do devastating wounds that just goes past feel no pains from Custodes on mortal wounds. So stupid. Scorpec Lore is down 15. Cool, whatever. Tesseract Vault is down 50. Silent King is down 50. And he's 420 points, and I don't know if he's still really... I don't know that his points justify that. I think he's going to keep dropping for a while until finally people see him on the board again. Transcendent Catan went up 20 points. Makes sense. That thing was ridiculous. Triarch Praetorians are down 15 and then 30 for the full group, and that's it. No changes to our Forge World stuff, which is ironic considering... What do people take of our Forge World stuff? The answer is the Seraphic Heavy Construct until it got points increases. Cool. Yay. So they just kind of goofed that up again, I guess. All right, keep moving. We're going to do just a few more. Tau. Tau is a faction I just got into and have been slowly assembling the models and painting, but first trying to get my Necron stuff done. Holy cow. I'm about to make a pretty large purchase, I think, of Tau because what we just got is crazy. All right, let's run through this really quickly. On Shi, down 10. And if memory serves, that's the one... I think that's the one... no, on Va is the one with the crazy 2-up invuln save. I'll have to look up on Shi. That's interesting. Breacher team, down 25 points. It's ridiculous. Those are cheap. For 10 models, that's really cheap. 9 points per model. Broadsides are down 60 at their max. That's ridiculous. So down 20 points per model. Crazy. Cadre Fireblade down 10. So with a Cadre Fireblade and a Breacher team, it's only 100 points popping out of a Devilfish with shotguns. Crazy. Commander Farsight down 30. Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit down 15. Commander in Crisis Battlesuit down 20. Commander in Enforcer Battlesuit down 35. Commander Shadow Sun down 40. Crisis Battlesuits, for 3 of them down 15, for 6 down 30. Darkstrider down 15. Devilfish down 20 to a 75-point model. 75 points. That's not a model. That's just freebies. It's these rhinos that we already saw. It's ridiculous. Anyway, what do I know? All right, let's keep moving here. Ghost Keel down 10. It was already really good. Hammerhead Gunship down 15. Kroot Carnivores down 20 and then 40 for the max. Holy cow. Kroot Farstalkers is only 70 points for 12 models. Down 35 points. I'm intrigued by these. I'll have to look at them closer now. Kroot Shaper down 10. Only 40 points for 1 model. Okay. Long Strike. 1 model. Down 30 points. Pathfinder team down 30 points for 10. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in a crazy mode here with Tau. Riptide Battlesuit down 55 points. Skyray Gunship down 30. Stealth Battlesuits down 15 and 30 for the 6. Storm Surge down 65 points. Strike Team down 20. There are 80 points for 10 models. 80. That's it. What was our generic ethereal? Still 50 points. Okay, good. Makes sense. All right. Last 2 things over here. We do have 2 reductions inside of the Forge World stuff. They're both Ravarna Battlesuit is down 35 to a 200-point model. Yavara Battlesuit down 25. I was not expecting the Crisis Battlesuits to drop in points at all because any drop on anything else was going to be a buff to them just because there'd be more stuff on the field to do other things. But then on top of that, them dropping, oh my gosh. This is insane. This is insane. They're going to have Tau back at the top of the spot if they're not careful. This is crazy stuff. Crazy. What are they thinking? Anyway, I'm kind of happy because it'll be interesting until they get nerfed into the ground again. All right. World Eaters is the last one. This is something that we play here. And yeah, quick things through it. 8 bound. That's so funny. 3 and 6, but there's not 8. Well, okay. Down 20, down 40 for the max. Exalted 8 bound, down 30, down 60. Jackals down 5 and then 10 for the 20. Khorne Berserkers down 15, down 30. Khorne Lord of Skulls down 45 points. Karn the Betrayer down 15. Lord Invocatus down 15. World Eater's Daemon Prince down 20, I believe. That's what I wrote. World Eater's Daemon Prince with Wings down 20. World Eater's Defiler down 20. World Eater's Forge Fiend up 20. And having fought it, yeah, that was actually a speculation that I was hoping that it would be increased because the thing is a really good model with really good customization, and it's ridiculous. So it's interesting that that was the only thing that went up. So really, did it actually go up? Not really. And I know that sounds silly and it doesn't make sense because you're like, clearly it did. It went up right here. But with everything else going down, you're going to be able to fit this in just like it was still 150. You see what I mean? It's just interesting that when everything else is going down almost in the entire faction, when one of your models goes up that was already decent, you're not going to notice it because you're already going to have points reductions anyway. Kind of interesting. All right. Anyway, World Eater's Hellbird down 10. World Eater's Helldrake down 5. World Eater's Land Raider down 15. World Eater's Lord on Juggernaut down 20. I want to see what that model looks like because what in the world? World Eater's Mauler Fiend down 20. World Eater's Rhino down 10. World Eater's Terminator Squad down 5 and then down 10. All right, I want to see this. World Eater's Lord on Juggernaut. What is this thing? Let's go to Games Workshop because do we trust the internet to show us something weird? Yeah, probably. Oh, okay. That's fun. Cool. Only $65, ladies and gentlemen, for this one model, one guy on one pig dog. $65. Have fun. Games Workshop, figure your lives out. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the points cost? Obviously, we didn't go through everything. There's a lot, and I wanted to at least hit the factions that we play in our group. What do you think about what's going on here? This is fascinating stuff. I am so excited that we have gotten so many good things. Let me know down in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. Please join us as we talk through Warhammer 40K and other nerdy things, TV, shows, cartoons, card games, board games, all the things that are video game related and otherwise as well. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. Take care.